He's hurting. I'm hurting. Like, I don't know how far away a ride is potentially. And you and I we just stepped our way back. Like, we were cramping. And that was, it sucked in the moment, but we overcame, and that was cool.
Does that
kind of answer your question?
Yeah. I'll say, like, it
was a bonding experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know really what this says about, like, my mentality, but I remember it was a much harder time going out than coming back. Like, by the time I was, like, really cramping up bad, we were already on the way back, and I was kind of like, whatever, we'll just take our time.
As soon as you peaked, you were like, "That's all downhill from here, baby."
Exactly. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
because we were stopping quite a bit on the way back, just mostly for me, as I remember it. But that, like, I remember that being like, yeah, I'm just gonna take my time, whatever, no pressure anymore. We made it to where we were going, and I just spin it on back.
It was cool. We got a couple cool shots. Like, if you're ever on my Instagram or whatever, and you see the monsoon like leaned against Plymouth Rock. Well, not literally against the rock, but
the cage where they keep
day.
the rock.
Yeah, that was that day.
Prevent it from escaping.
Exactly.
You never know.
Columbus's ghost from coming back to steal it, or some crap like Nicolas Cage in a shitty movie. It's honestly, I noticed it's the same thing with the military does with boot camp. Like, they make you go through hell with a couple of other people, and you're like, now you guys are bonded. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are besties now because you both almost died. Like, it's kind of a similar effect where it's like, once you've been through some shit with somebody on a fucking bike over like a ride, where you're like, I don't even know if I can finish this, and then you do. It's different. It changes a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have the ideal one. I'll at least tell you the story of the coolest thing that's ever happened to me on a bicycle. Literally. And like, no offense anybody, but you literally can't compete with this one. So this summer, I take a very generic whip on my Gorilla Monsoon, like, could go anywhere from 17 to like 22 miles typically after work. And it's all like around me. It's bogs. It's a couple like wildlife management areas, yada, yada, yada. It's an overcast afternoon, and there's like a storm front. Pretty distant storm front. But like no real threat of, it might drizzle by the time I'm coming home. And I'm riding around this cranberry bog, and I'm solo. So this kind of speaks to my point of like, I really like these solo moments in nature, right? I'm riding around this cranberry bog, and it's actually right off the edge of Route 106 in, I believe it is Halifax at that point.
Right.
So it's a fairly public setting. I'm off road, but like there's people around, like there's civilization around. And I'm coming around one of the edges of this bog. I'm facing Route 106, and suddenly 100 feet in front of me, lightning strikes a tree out of thin, like, honest to God, like I said, the storm front is visible on the horizon. I don't know where this lightning bolt came from. It is at once the loudest noise I've ever heard, and like the concussion, like it feels like somebody punched me in the chest. And I just like, I literally, all you can hear, there's dead silence in the whole world except for like my DT 240, just like ring.
The hub down spinning.
And like immediately you can actually hear like people in the parking lot across the street like, oh, and like this tree is smoking, branches are falling off of it, and I'm just like still coasting at it with my jaw like on the floor. And then I realized, like, all at once, this is the part where it's like this ride got terrifying for like a few minutes, because it was just like, oh my god, lightning just hit that tree and I'm on 30 pounds of steel.
A man on a steel
bike.
God.
And like I look back, and like the tree line, which is really no more than like a half mile away, just feels like it's So I proceed to max out my Monsoon. I'm in like 36.11. It doesn't matter if it's gravel, it doesn't matter if it's uphill, I'm spinning it out on the downhills. I'm flying home, just flying, thinking truly lightning is going to strike, and it's going to strike me next. No matter where I am or where I go, nowhere is safe. And like I get home, And I'm like frantically telling my wife what happened. And she kind of just like, I must say, I'm married to a non-cyclist, and it's like describing dreams to someone. Like she just like politely is like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. Well, you're not dead. So, all right, yeah, good talk. Yeah, that happened."
That's
and it's like,
nice.
"No, it really did." But
Guess you had to have been there.
dude, like I said, I think I said this, like, I'm staring at this tree as like people around me are starting to realize what happened, and like pieces are just sloughing off of it. Like I've never seen power like that, or the noise. And like again, without cycling, never.
Never would have had
I mean,
that
maybe,
fear of
you know,
nature.
but there's no other way I'm spending all these hours outside to make that probability come true. There's just no way. So yeah. That was an incredible ride. And I remember almost nothing about the ride except bang lightning and frantic rush home. I think every PR I have on the return route to my house is literally that day on my Gorilla Monsoon.
Gold star.
Yeah, it was just there was no negotiate with me in that moment. But yeah, so there's my two.
I love it. That was Wait, so you're doing ideal rides and like insane moment. I feel like you brought up a good point about like,
I kind of did
the amount of
the same, but yeah,
the amount of hours being outside has definitely allowed me to see some shit. Like I've seen some wild weather. I've seen some wild animals. I saw a tree fall on a guy once. Like just, I literally saw a tree fall in the woods. I'm not joking.
I think I've heard this story.
Yeah. It made a sound. It fell on a guy racing at Borderland. It was, I wouldn't have seen, nothing touched it. It just collapsed at the exact right moment, Those moments are great, like that weird, insane snow squall that me and Riley ran into when it was like 50 in the morning. Like what? The weather events are, I mean, somebody who's in awe basically of nature a lot of the times is another one of the reasons why it's nice. I love being outside sometimes, I still don't love like biking in a freezing blizzard every day, but to see like the crazy stuff that pops up is super, like it puts you in awe and kind of gives you like, I am basically a nothing in the end result of me. Like I'm nothing in the face of all of this, the humbleness, you know what I mean?
Well, regardless, it's always like, it always feels like such a change from day to day, right? To be out there, whether it's perfectly calm and quiet and all you hear is the like nature sounds that we're all used to.
Oh yeah.
Or whether you're out there seeing lightning like burn a forest down. Like it's never, it's always that kind of escapism part of it, right? And that removal from your everyday, and you're all of a sudden you're in this totally different world that's all around you all the time, but you never get a chance to like sit in it and be in it, like in the moment. And that's, I think, one of the things that riding through it really provides is you get to be in it for X amount of time.
Yeah. When it's nice, or even when it's bad, I guess sometimes there's some charm to that. Maybe not personally the best, but hey. I don't know what my favorite time riding is. There's a couple that were like, that was funny. There's a couple that were like, super memorable, but not like necessarily long. Like I think I remember we did one at like, Freetown where I was like not feeling it. I definitely had many drinks the night before and did not get like enough rest. And you guys were like, just friggin' come out. And if I recall, I think maybe Mike might have been there, but it's one of those things where like I felt so much better at like after getting out. I had a lot more fun than I thought. It's one of those things where like the tide turns and I'm like, I'm glad I did this, or the one we did like at Ascutney, because it was just like a straight day of just like leg powered elevation and then descents. Like there's so many other things I could point to that are just too epic. Like that's my kind of issue with a lot of things. Like people are like, what's your favorite movie? I'm like, I can't pick one. I could give you like 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't, there's so many different appreciations in different ways. I mean, it does suck when, again, the coldness kills me. At the end of that ride, Riley, like I know I was like starting to surge because you were basically like, let me pace this because you'll burn yourself out. And then like I was basically off my leash and I was like la 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 la, like I just was like, this is great. I'm like just gonna go. But it was I was freezing at the end of that. And I don't know how you continue because I had another layer compared to you, and I was like, I don't know how you just did that. You know what I mean? Like I remember just sitting there literally on the floor of your apartment for like an hour. Like,
Yep.
your girlfriend's just there, like we're barely alive, literally just doing nothing. And somehow like that was probably one of the mentally clearest times I've had in like a very long time, even since, you know what I mean? Like there was just nothing there, and it was finally like a peace, you know what I mean? Like, so it sounds insane, but like you said, the suffering can absolutely make it worth it in a weird way. Not like the weird like self-flagellation shit like that, because whatever, you know, not like an Opus Dei, but yeah, but to an extent,
there's a meditative
you know?
quality to it when you have to like,
Oh yeah,
like on a ride like that where you have to put all of your mental energy into just making it that last mile.
Yeah.
Like there's something that like obviously that's gonna like clear your head out because you're
builds
putting
character.
Yeah.
That's a great way to say that. But hair in your chest, literally. Yeah.
Well, you're putting all of your mental energy into like this goal and then achieving it, and you mentioned like ADHD or anxiety, you aren't letting your head kind of focus on those other extraneous things that it might otherwise be preoccupied with.
Exactly. It's like that's the drug. That's the mental health drug right there.
I guess as far as I'm concerned, like personally with cycling too, speaking of like ADHD, anxiety, I've never been diagnosed with anything. No one in my family has immediately, because my immediate family is, like we mentioned in the beginning, one of those families that does not acknowledge it. There is nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
Exactly right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything's normal. Continue.
And cycling is just kind of in its roundabout way with the whole weight loss thing. Like my whole life, for a variety of reasons, I would have told you that my issue was I needed to lose weight. That was why I was unhappy. Cycling has, if nothing else, been able to teach me that the real issue is I have no fucking self-esteem.
See, that's
the issue.
That's a great reveal there. Like you wouldn't have.
Yeah,
I have similar, feelings about that.
I can get more depressed now than I ever did at what I thought were some of my darkest hours as a younger and heavier man, solely because I'm not achieving something that day.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not like this, like, I've never offered self-help advice. I've never offered unsolicited advice to a single soul. The only advice I'd give anyone is try to love yourself.
That's a
great
way to put that, man.
If you're just chasing it for the wrong reasons, you'll chase it forever.
Yeah.
So it's not to be completely cryptic, but yeah,
I mean, this is
cycling. Cycling has given me something to make a self-loathing potential disorder type thing into an athletic pursuit.
Yeah.
Like one hand kind of washes the other. Like I don't, with cycling, I can give myself a little bit to eat. I can feel a little more relaxed. I can sleep a little better. And I'm like working towards positive goals. Like I believe Riley, you just said, you got X, Y, or Z event coming up. You check that one off the calendar. All right. What's the next one? How many feet of elevation am I training for? Do I need to do this? And I guess that's kind of uncharacteristic for me historically to be like, oh, what event? I just realized. But I'm enjoying
Who am I? What have I become?
And, in the second winter in a row with nothing fucking good really going on, yet again, cycling is there as something to latch onto for hope of a brighter time around the corner.
It sucks that we've already used a New Hope for like an episode title because it might be the perfect one for this. And that was pretty good. Anyway. No. And I'm fairly sure Lucas doesn't listen to us, so he won't be. He won't get sued.
I carefully timed that to be under 6 seconds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Escape the algorithms.
I imagine that's important too, Tom. I mean, you mentioned like having that self-esteem issue, especially on days where you're like, you didn't say accomplish something. And especially in like wintertime, it's important, at least for me, this is something that I always try to keep in mind every winter as someone that rides more or less year round, is like, and we talked about this, I think, an episode or two ago, like taking a break is okay,
Yeah.
even from something that you love and something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
I one kind of balance that I always struggle with is there's always an excuse not to get on the bike, right? It's very easy to not get out there.
Yeah.
And that's, on most days, that's the struggle, right? Is I need to find the reasons to get out there and just get out there, because as soon as I get out there, I'm gonna have a great time. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, like, it's totally okay to not go out there when you can't, right? When you're not feeling up for it, like, it's not worth beating yourself up about. Like, take it on the next day. Because it's very easy to get into the, well, I didn't get out yesterday. What am I even doing? Why even bother getting out there today? And on that same kind of token, a trap that I fall into as well is like, and I chatted about this a few weeks ago too, I think, is, oh, well, I only did like 5 miles today. What was even the point?
Yeah.
I only did like 10 miles an hour today on the road. Why did I even go out there?
That's me every day, baby. 10 miles an hour is fast.
But I think it's important to like make sure that as much as these goals can drive us, if we let them define every ride, that it ends up not being worth it. I don't think, anyway. And for some people it might be. But to let that sour a ride, I think is missing the point.
It's a bike sin. You're a bike sinner.
A bike sinner.
Yeah.
You
Don't
will
let
be
anything
taken to
taint the
bike
ride.
courts.
You are in bike courts, sir. This is one of the. So when we start disappearing people, when we get off there, the fascist bike court comes out.
Bike court.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. Like, I only did 10 miles today. That was a waste. Why did I even do that? But that's something I kind of had issues with too, and I kind of have let it fall by the wayside, which is nice. Basically now I just pick an arbitrary number, and my only. I mean, this might be stupid, but my only thing now is to do at least 30 to 40 minutes of activity. I don't care what it is, It can be slow roll while watching YouTube, watching The Sopranos, watching whatever, while you're on the bike. It can be, now I'm like, oh, I'll even go for a walk with my girlfriend. 4.5 mile walk. That's a good filler when I'm not feeling up for biking. You know what I mean? Or I can't get out. So that is, I feel like instead of like mileage or speed, instead of hyper focusing on smaller stuff at bikes, if I generalize it and be like, I just need to move around this set amount of time, basically, that kind of helps me justify like not biking for a day. Or like, I moved around, I was in the basement, I was doing stuff on bikes or working on the car for at least 30, 40 minutes, like something physical. And that has helped a lot to be like, not have the shame of not biking well that day. You know what I mean? Like, we've all felt that, Because like holding yourself to that, like I need to do X amount of speed or X amount of miles or X amount of heart rate holding for these many days in a row. Like, you're gonna get burnt out, and your Garmin's gonna tell you probably that you're overreaching. Yeah, overreaching. Super snarkily.
Unproductive.
You're anti-training,
That's what it told me. Unproductive.
It's the dark side, you gotta watch out for it. It's out there. You know what? I just talked about working on bikes. Does that, obviously riding them, does that play into something with you guys too?
So
yeah.
I know you do it for work,
I'll
so it's kind of
like, this last week or two, started out with, it was raining for like a whole week. So I didn't manage to get outside during that. And I have a really hard time with a trainer. I'm trying to get on it, but I have a really hard time with it. And then this past week, I had COVID.
The vids.
So I didn't get out either. But I've kind of started a new like bike project, and just like working on like that project has been something that's kind of grounded me and made me feel like productive when I'm just sitting around. That's one of the reasons that I ended up in the bike industry, right, is that like having a bike that I can work on gives me a lot of that like mental stability and feeling of like routine and being able to accomplish something on a bicycle. And that's something that I enjoy. So that's why I'm in the industry.
Oh yeah.
Feeling like I'm doing something, but it's okay if that's not your thing too. I think it's important to keep that in mind. Like, absolutely, go tinker on your shit.
Oh yeah.
Don't get frustrated as soon as you start to get frustrated with it, because I've gotten in positions where, like, say I don't have the tools that I have here that I might at a bike shop. And that's gonna start getting me like, if I only had the right tool, I'm like halfway through this project.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad feel.
Yes. So it's important to try to remove that from it, whether that's just making sure you have the right tools from the get-go, or like keeping yourself realistic as far as what you can accomplish within your own home. But for me, that like kind of tinkering, and I've been doing a lot of Googling on this project, and I'm sure you'll hear more about that in the future, but I don't want that to become the focus today.
Ooh, top secret. This is gonna be a good episode when we do that one. But yeah.
Yeah, does that answer the question?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just something I thought of the other night when I was like swearing at myself for not ordering a part that I needed ahead of time and I thought I had.
That's where that frustration comes in, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, in a way that offers its own kind of therapeutic value, I guess.
In a way,
where you have to deal with this frustrating, stupid scenario,
in a way,
and then like move past it and solve it.
Because the only person you have to be angry at yourself is yourself, you know. I think my hobby is more breaking things and then trying to fix them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I do that often. But yeah, like you said, it's cathartic to be able to like, I have these parts, they go together this way. I can fix this. Let's do this, work on this, and it's calming somehow, you know. The fact that you can do it for money, I guess. I mean, there's always positives and negatives to that come with it, obviously, as you know. But yeah, that's a pretty good. Yeah, I was curious to get you guys' point of view on that, because it's something I've definitely found that's another side of biking that's definitely helped. Because I personally am in the same boat of like tinkering. However, I mean, as you both know, I'm definitely willing to pay to have people do the more annoying shit, or things I couldn't do.
Am I.
That's the dream, right? I mean, if Gary Fisher does it now and he doesn't work on shit anymore, like, doesn't that make also like sense?
As far as doing it for work, it's definitely great, and I feel very validated working on bicycles, believe it or not, and selling bicycles, especially a type of bicycle I believe is genuinely the future of cycling. In other words, to the masses.
Tron theme.
Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I feel as though I genuinely believe this, that like I have some at least small time part in bringing more people into this fold for the reasons I cited of like being out there with a friend. Who cares about an event? Like for most people and for myself, 99 days out of 100, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like actually, I don't know if I've told this story before, but where this is the mental health episode, I might not get through this story without crying. I'm gonna preface with that. But,
all right, trigger warning for everyone.
Trigger warning. So judgment-free zone. Go ahead.
Quit my construction job on a pretty short notice. Like, you don't do what I did. There were people who wrote me off almost immediately. As time has gone on, more have. And that hurts because you're locked in a room with those guys for 70 hours a week sometimes, if not plus. And you kind of drift out of each other's lives. So it was a really tough transition kind of as all that was going on. I begin at 508. I'm working on bikes again. I'm in this part shortage. Everything's really stressful. The guys are great, but like, wow, is this more than I like ever thought it could be? You know what I mean? It's stressful because you want it to go well. And I'm like back and yada yada. So this kid comes in one day, and he's, he reminds me a lot of myself when I was young. He was probably about 13, 14 years old, and just heard about e-bikes online. Dad brought him in, and he gets on this high bike hardtail and he rides it around the parking lot, and like he just comes back with this grin. And Dad kind of like plays hardball with him. I want to say like sends him back out for another loop, and basically he's like, all right, ring me out. And like that moment, because this kid, dude, they ring out for this bike. Dad thanks me. We end up talking about a few things. Like, Dad's really cool. This kid never came back on this bike. He like, I want to say he rode it home, because they live like in the area. Like, this kid did not get off of this thing. And like, Dad was super nice, like said nice things to the bosses. Can't thank him enough. So a couple months go by, right? And I get a phone call like, hey, is it cool to bring in a tune up? Name's so-and-so. I won't use these people's names or anything. I said, yeah. And they go, hey, we're thinking about maybe doing like tubeless tires or something, or putting sealant in his tires. And it's like, oh, okay. So when I get this thing back, right, and I don't mean this in a negative way, the bike's destroyed. The bike is destroyed. The tires are slicks. Like, this kid has been, and I checked because your e-bike has an odometer. I want to see this kid in like 2 or 3 months put 900 miles on an e-bike.
Oh wow!
Like this, yeah.
Holy shit!
And I'm talking with Dad, and I meet Mom and stuff, and they're just like, yeah, he will not get off of it, and like
he sleeps with it. Some say he's on it right now.
And like when we first met, like he was real quiet. Like, Dad did a lot of the talking. He would smile a little bit, but now he's like, you can tell the kid's like a little warmer with me, because like I'm that bicycle guy. Like, and just if all the shit didn't go down on my old job. If I wasn't standing at that door like I was when that particular father and son came in, that kid, would he have found the joy that I found? That's it's just one of those things. It sticks with me. I'm really just glad to have been some small part of steering this kid potentially towards what I think is one of the best things in the world to do. Yeah,
you had a hand in that, man. That's dude, think about that. 900 miles in 3 months. That's on pace for what, like 3,200 dollars. That kid, give me right the piss out of that thing.
Awesome. It was awesome.
I wish I had that much. I wish I had someone like you when I was a kid. That and
I didn't do anything, man. I just hey, I'd say it seems like you like this one. Take it for a spin. You know what I mean? Like. For my part, I know like I talk a lot, and I kind of talk in like a more blue collar sort of way than you might be used to in some of the bike business. But like sometimes that really works. Sometimes that's exactly what people need. And I think sometimes those customers are what I need.
Yeah.
Like, because shit like that, man, I could tell you vividly of 1,000 times, like in my youth, that like bike shops, like this person got mad, or like, yada, yada, angry person this, but like that positive story was one of the first I had at this new job. And like, I told myself, like the bike shop days, at least for me, as I remember them, we're over. It's no longer a good old boys club. Like, we're going to be helpful to real people. And like I said, man, sorry, I dropped the phone again, but that kid, just had a huge effect on me. I don't know if maybe someday they'll ever hear this or something, but yeah, I'm really I was touched to know how happy that bicycle made that kid.
Hell yeah. Hopefully he'll be back for a full suspension with a bigger battery.
You can tell, he's got that look. Like when we all, like, he looks down the rows of e-bikes exactly like any of us goes through a bike shop, like a shark. You know what I mean? Like, he's in.
I do think at some point we'll have to talk about, because like Tom and I both have many thoughts on like the bike shop as it has traditionally been and as it should be.
Maybe a podcast in itself.
I think exactly. I think that might have to be a discussion at some point, because there's a lot of like things to talk about there. But that's, at the end of the day, that factors into this conversation a lot, at least in my mind, and obviously in Tom's mind too, because it is for a lot of it's the entryway, right? It's the way that people get in, and it's the way that people are getting to their end result of whatever experience they're looking for. Yeah. And as we've kind of gone over, like imagine you have like meds that like you need to get these meds to feel like life is worth living next week, right? And you go into this place and this place says, yeah, we're out of your meds. We can't get your meds for the next 6 months to make you feel like life is worth living again. That's nuts. And that's where some people are at. Like, I know I've been there before with like my bicycle.
Yeah.
Where like without like that's my escape, and that's what I need to be able to kind of function day to day sometimes. And it's important to keep that in mind. Again, wherever we're at, whether it's on social media or in a bike shop or whatever, looking at bikes on Amazon or eBay.
Be cognizant of the fact that whatever you're doing could be somebody's, lifeline
it's
or something
important.
like that.
Think about how important it is to you or to us, and like think about the times that you have been able to get out on that bike and clear your head.
Yeah.
Because if it's important to you, it's important to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it understand people flipping out at shop like a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's something that, again, it's a difficult conversation, and I would like to have that actual bike shop conversation separate from this conversation.
Yeah, it's a whole nother can of worms.
Yes.
Although I will piggyback on that and say that I think that experience that you guys gave me, like, as the other end of like what Tom said, like I was the customer. Like, we didn't get bikes from a bike shop when I was a kid. Like my dad got them at the junkyard and pieced them together. You know what I mean? Like, so like going there and Mike's being like, he actually helped me. You actually helped me. Like, you're inclusive. You were like, this might not be the best bike for you. We're going to let you make your mistakes because you'll be back. I can see it in your eyes. And that, I think, played a huge role in getting me completely, into this. And it was the fact that you guys, I think, were as inclusive as you were. Shout out to Mike. I would have got there at some point because I'm extremely stubborn. But it was such a more accepting and easier ride with you guys kind of like lowering the barriers to entry to the bike community, I guess you'd say, and yeah, that's a huge aspect that I didn't even consider, is the fact that like it's super important to have a bike shop a certain way these days. And I know I'll obviously leave that we'll have to write that down for a podcast later, but I'll say that, leave that. Also, I just realized we're on YouTube right now for once. Just shout out to my friend Wayne. He's in the chat right now. Wayne's a great dude. I'm gonna ride with him. He just said bikes are life, because we all know that. Shout out to you, Tango. Yeah, kid rips. He's got a Cannondale. I think it's a Trigger. I believe it's not a Jekyll. I think it's a Trigger. Dude, kid's a great rider. I haven't ridden with him a long time, probably because of my own issues and my own shit bike, fucking mountain bike care. But shout out to Wayne. We'll be riding again soon, buddy.
What's up, Wayne?
Yeah, Wayne's the man. You guys would definitely get along very well with him.
Wayne's got to send us a picture of his bike so we can praise / heckle it.
Ooh, he should bring it into it. Yeah, I'm down with that. I'm gonna hound all my friends to send me their bikes and just not tell them what we're gonna do.
let's do the mental health special. Diagnose me based on this build.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's a good one too.
I think the anxiety rings true in a lot of my bikes. Actually, now that I think about it,
they are all built to withstand the apocalypse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tell me you're not a prepper by having prepper like bikes, basically.
Yeah, if my house burns down, I just have to buy tires.
That's a great way to look at that. They're everlasting. If the comet hits, like, you're all good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends upon how hot the fire gets.
Yeah.
Just don't get magnesium.
I've heard that jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Hashtag goddammit. Yeah, so shout out to all the bike shops we know that are awesome, and that people we know that run them or frequent them or have championed them over the years, because you guys have definitely made significant impacts, I think, beyond what a lot of people actually realize until they stop to think about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, can't imagine how many customers have been through, the old Spark and to change their life. You know what I mean? Like a lot more than you think if you think about it. You know what I mean? And it makes me think twice about the guys flipping out because he's like, I can't ride for 4 days and I have to wait for X. And it's like, I feel that hard. I can't, I don't have that stress relief for 4 days, not to mention COVID hits. And then it's like, hey, you'll get this crank in 2 years, maybe. Shut up and love it. You know what I mean? Like, so I can definitely see people's frustrations rising and like, why that's an understandable aspect of it, because we all kind of feel that to some extent, it's just how much we can control it, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that the like getting frustrated and like yelling at people is the solution.
not saying that at all. Yes.
But as someone that's on the other side of it, it is something that I've had to do where I have to like kind of step into that, like think about myself in that scenario and think, well, yeah, that makes total sense.
What do you mean I destroyed my wheels again and I need another wheel set? Like somehow it's not my fault,
I came up right in the end of that like uber toxic era. I'll be the first one to admit that like Spark was a breath of fresh air. And I actually worked for their competition in the area when Mike opened. And that breath of fresh air really took the flame out of my boss. I hope Mike probably just rolled his truck, but yeah, like, man, again, not to make it about shops and stuff, but unfortunately, I think a lot of people have memories of negative experiences in a true bicycle shop, and yeah. It is a whole can of worms. That could be an episode.
Yeah, we'll approach it.
Oh, we could have some guests maybe for that. Oh, that might be a good one.
Yeah, we could do that.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, one of the greatest compliments I ever received was somebody recently. I believe they're a listener and somebody I ride with. I won't name her name, but
I won't name
she was
names.
She was basically just like, you and by extension, like it was Spark and us and just like the whole community, like you keep saying, the local community was basically like, there's a certain way girls get treated in a lot of places, and that has not been my experience here. And it was like, oh, thank God.
Sigh of relief.
It's just, well, it's just like I don't know what the right thing is sometimes. I don't know if you're bike splaining, or you know what I mean? Like, I know I've never been one of those people who just like runs up to someone who's like, oh, your saddle is blah, 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 blah. It's too low. It's too high. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's a good community around here. That was one of the greatest compliments I ever received. And I just wanted to extend that out because she meant the Spark community. So shout out again to Mike. That was, it was a shame to have worked somewhat against him for a couple of years.
Kept him on his
not that I ever did
worry.
well. Yeah, he mopped the floor with me, but yeah, nah. Mike's a good dude.
Healthy competition.
So was that Spark, and so is the continued community in the area. Love yous all. Don't know where I'd be without you. No, for real. Like,
yeah.
Built some real good experiences, like some of those, the mixtape. Some of those group rides, the mountain bike rides. Christmas parties, like, man, that's the shit.
Yeah,
that's what you remember.
That's the best term right there. Yeah. Looking back, you're
that's
like,
what you remember.
That was the shit. Yeah.
Yep. Shannon making fun of me in my tights. Shout out to Shannon.
I'm sure she still is.
She was ripping on me not too long ago. She was making fun of me, and I was like, she does not stop. You gotta respect that fire. You know what I mean? Keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, I look like a bowling ball. And,
I just want to clarify to Shannon. I was actually in there.
She's cat calling me.
I was actually in there the other day, and you're like, oh, are you ever gonna come back? I was actually in there, and you weren't in there, so I made the parents. I'm sorry.
There you go.
So what else? Tom, I know you were pushing for this episode.
I was, and now I find myself struggling a little bit.
Yeah, that's
all out. Yeah.
That's part of it.
I mean, it's something that in the dead of winter, like, I mean, I get seasonal depression like a motherfucker, and it's like,
Oh, I do too.
of course, this is, I mean, January is it. There's no holidays. Like, there's no Lexus December to Remember event to fucking go to. Like, there's not, it's done. You know what I mean? Like, now we have gray and cold, like you said, like Christmas and then 6, you know?
Yeah.
So it's probably like literally the peak of like the bullshit. I mean, February is also a suckage, but then you get some holidays and you start to get some, maybe you get used to it a little bit. You get into a groove. You find a way to like, I have a routine now, at least maybe hopefully built up. So yeah, I think this was an apt time to do this. It's probably perfect.
What,
you know?
just to kind of get us all through, what are our like strategies for the next few months?
I'll just start because I talk. I got a trainer finally, a smart air trainer than the one I had. It's only A&T plus, but it doesn't do ERG, right? So I can't do like the hills and Zwift or anything cool like that. But it does finally give me a power meter, you know, and the resistance feels a lot better than the one I had. Although I probably could have got something cooler. It ended up costing me nothing, $0, and he gave me 2 of them because he wanted them out of his basement. He was like, "Oh, I want $100 for each." And for some reason, I couldn't meet up with him before the holidays. Emailed him again afterwards, and he's like, "You know, I can only find the power cord for one. You can just take both of them. I want them gone. I'm done with them." I was like, "I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Let's do this." You know, I think his name was Chris. If he'll never listen to this, but he was the coolest dude ever. Thank you, my man. I gotta get him like a gift certificate to like Trek Lakeville or something like that because he was close by there. So yeah, that my goal now is to actually I can actually see power and kind of now start to focus in on like zone training, because I feel like that's where I lack is like controlling heart rate, controlling burnout, and everything like that. So I think that's probably going to be my focus, and I'm trying to consider getting into Zwift. I don't know if I should do it or if I just watch movies or what, but everybody else seems to use it and enjoy it, and I'm like, oh, maybe we can do like a virtual 50-mile ride if it's shitty outside or something like that. So I'm like, I might as well get like an avatar and set up like a skin. But my strategy is to kind of get into that because I had previously not. I mean, you guys obviously have been into it for a significant amount of time, but like this would be my first foray into like anything but a purely basic trainer and like YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is that what you did last year, Ed? Was just kind of basic trainer and just put on the YouTube?
Cruise at like 14 miles an hour and just hold it straight until I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. There was no focus. There was no like, I specifically want to like do intervals or do a race somewhere that distracts me with other people or something. It was just like watch something informational, mostly about bikes, sometimes not, and ride. Like, and it kept me. I did it to an extent, but not to the level I wanted to. You know, so hopefully this gives me some sort of interaction that like I can hyper get in on and like maybe get into it a little bit more. You know.
Now, is there a way that Zwift can control the resistance on your trainer? You have now?
I don't know. I don't think so because it's not ANT plus FEC, I believe.
Okay. I'm not saying don't get Zwift. However, you may find I don't know if it'd be worth you paying the subscription if you don't have a smart trainer.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Well, because it physically, like, it's not just a screen. Like, it'll actually send you up to I think a 20% grade.
You can feel that on the bike too, right?
They have a fake Alpe d'Huez, man.
Oof.
Like, the thing is you really, I hate to shill for anything indoor, but like, yo, I'll put it to you this way: I caution you on Zwift because now I can't go back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I can't. Yeah, no. That once that veil's broken, dude, I'm not sitting on a dumb trainer ever again. It's not an elitist thing. If this thing breaks and I can't afford to replace it, which realistically I don't think I could ever spend like $1,000 on a trainer ever again. I guess I'm going outside. I'm gonna be real cold and it's gonna be real dark.
You can't go back now.
There's just no way. There's just no way.
So it's I know there's that other much apps. Better, huh?
Yeah, and I know there's other apps and stuff, but like in terms of honesty versus an actual smart trainer changing elevation on you, it's beyond compare. Like, you know what I mean? I always bullshitted my way through dumb trainer rides. Always. Always. Not at once did I have an honest And I cheat as much as I can on Swift too, realistically, but you really can't. But yeah,
Puts
so
a
there's my
power
2 cents
drill
on
on the wheel
Oh, yeah,
and just
that's the play.
spins it like 800 miles an hour.
There's actually people who I don't know what they're doing or how they're doing it, but sometimes it would appear as though someone hits a button and their avatar rockets away at 200 miles an hour.
They give themselves an adrenaline shot in game and it boosts them.
Yeah, I have no idea if it's a.
Does Swift have
glitch in the
power ups?
graphics
Can
or
you
what.
make yourself you get the golden tire so you go 30 miles an hour?
Sort of, but they're kind of useless. One's like a feather. It allegedly makes it easier to climb. The only one that seems to work really well is the moving truck, which is a drafting boost.
Ooh.
So if somebody comes around you, hit this icon of a moving truck, and if you stay 4 feet behind them, look at how far I've fallen. I'm just
pull through.
Zwift.
Pull through. You're like, nope.
Describing Zwift on a cycling podcast. But yeah, but that's another thing too. Is I get, not all the time, but you'll get somebody who's super duper serious, and you can usually tell because their avatar is a triathlete. And you'll hit that drafting thing. You'll hit that drafting thing, and they'll fucking slow down.
Okay. All right.
And it's just really, man? You came by me. I hit the button because I want to wipe my sweat off my face with my towel.
That's funny.
And usually I end up just attacking those people. After that.
No more wheel sucking. I'm pulling through, baby. Look out.
Yeah, I just give them 30 for as long as I can, and then that's usually that. But yeah, no, Zwift is really cool. However, I don't know if I recommend paying for it without
a very smart trader.
Not just that, but the full functionality. It's kind of not cheap. It's $15 a month.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. Past the free trial. I mean, I guess in my defense, if I paid nothing for these, I still have my entire budget available for a smart trader.
Yeah, and I do know there's other alternatives out there. People have mentioned them to me. I don't know what they are. I haven't tried them. But yeah, Zwift is where it's at.
Ooh, yeah, baby. Look at that. Zwift, our new sponsors.
Yeah.
Thanks. Shout out to our new sponsors, Zwift.
And
please,
the fact that you're paying for it, there's some nights I might not do the trainer. It's dude, you pay for this regular subscription.
Costing you money. It's 50 cents a day, asshole. Get on that bike.
Yeah. There's a few summer nights where I'd otherwise do nothing, and it's I'm paying for this stupid subscription. So, but anyway.
Excellent point. All right. So do you have any coping strategies through shit times, besides, Zwift or anything like that?
Or even motivators.
Ooh, good one, yeah.
Right now, just I signed up for a couple things. I had a friend kind of hit me at the last second with an hour to go, hey, we're signing up for Vermont Overland. So,
you are too now, apparently, huh?
Yep. So yeah, I'm in for that. But we signed up for Winter Woolly. I signed up for Wicked Nor'easter. I'm just gonna keep. Hey, my whole life I always was too scared to show my face at cycling events because I thought I'd get smoked. And I'm still getting smoked, but I'm gonna just keep going to them because it feels good.
I love getting
making
smoked.
Up for lost time. So yeah, I'm signing up for shit to do in every season, whether I want to or not, and just kind of nose to the grindstone and just pedal right through the tough, shitty time. And soon enough, the dandelions will be back, and I'll be swirling through fields of,
sweet summer
again.
child.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the best time. Not gonna lie, I love it too.
Watching lightning hit shit right in front of me, and pooping my pants.
Zeus putting you in your place, dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rao, did you sign up for Winter Woolly?
I have not yet. No.
I'll sign you. I'll freaking pay for you if you can go. You need to come to that thing.
When is that?
Can hop on that.
February.
We'll talk later.
Yeah.
I think it's the 6th.
Also, what's up with Bike Reg? You can't log in without going to outside.com now. What is this shit?
How about that pop-up almost effed me out of Vermont Overland for a second? That thing sold out in minutes.
Did it really?
And I hit register or complete. The transaction was done, and it's just add outside magazine to your shit, and then you go to scroll to get to the X, and the the pop-up's a little too big, so I like struggled with the pop-up for like several seconds.
Oh God, sweating in the mouth, sweaty.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know, a little clunky, I don't know, bike ride, a finger wag in your direction.
It's like anti-outside behavior to me.
Yeah.
What did I sign up for? I signed up for Wicked Nor'easter too.
Yep.
Wicked
I
Nor'easter.
think events are huge to be able to kind of. I use events a lot to really get myself out there. I would say Rasputitsa is probably my biggest motivator.
Ooh.
Usually, as far as like putting in base miles and junk.
Yeah. The only reason I've been trying not to talk about it, because otherwise I'd talk about it constantly. Man, that this episode could always be called "Mental Health Brackets Rasputitsa."
Uplifting music ends.
Oh yeah, so that joke is Riley and I, like the day before Rasputitsa 19. It's like raining torrents, and we drive over to like Cabot Village. And we watch the stupid like video in the theater of how the Cabot cheese is made, and the subtitles literally say in parentheses, "Uplifting music ends." And I just like elbow him like, "That's today." Like, like this is exactly how I feel about our situation.
Oh man, honestly, instead of doing the overland, I should probably sign up for the wait list on that, huh?
It was a whirlwind thing. I haven't even told work yet. Granted, I got time.
There's a 40K that's open. It's not waitlisted.
Actually, speaking of work, is the e-bike category open? You want to go race an e-bike for 508?
I absolutely will. Oh, is there an e-bike category? No.
There was. I actually sent an email over it. I was like, hey, listen, I know it says e-bikes 508 as my reg, but I am in fact riding a normal bicycle. I didn't want to raise any red flags, so thank you.
That'd be amazing if they could add that category.
I want to say there was one. It's really interesting because I don't know how you do 55 miles and 7,000 feet without multiple batteries.
Secret is pain. You'd be pedaling a 50-pound bike at the end with the batteries at the end. You'd be dying.
With pretty much a 40-tooth chain ring on it with a 1x11.
Like, better get those legs good. Oh man, yeah, events are huge. You got me looking at events now. God damn it. Yeah, Riley, I think that's another thing that's kept. Yeah, what do you got, Riley?
What else?
You got anything else besides that?
We got sidetracked on you.
No, that's all right. I don't know. I think I think we stayed pretty surface level with it, which is good in a way that you don't want to dive into the conversation and go for the jugular vein right out of the gate, right? I think the main thing for everyone right now is just keeping the conversation as close to the forefront as possible, because especially this time of year, it's a huge part of, I think, everyone's life, and it's something that we should all be discussing more. So again, as long as if this inspired one person to talk about it a little bit more, I'm calling it a 100% win. Oof,
that's a good call. I'm with you on that. If anybody also wants to share a story that they've had related to this, obviously this is a safe place, go ahead and contact us, drop us a line. It's always good to hear that kind of stuff. I know, like I said, shout out to MTV Travel for doing that episode on YouTube about it, because it was I think the timing was perfect, because it was we talked about it and I saw him basically release this and I was like, oh wow, nailed it. Somebody else is basically on the same thing. It's great to see that we're not the only ones basically with this in our heads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I have seen kind of within the cycling community, and I don't know if it's statistically justifiable if I looked at the actual numbers, but one of the leading kind of losses of life that I've seen within the cycling community, as far as a tragic loss of life, has been suicides. I see those way too often. Within the cycling community in general. at least around here. And it might be that it's New England as well. Like, I mean, it's probably both up here.
Yeah.
But that's something that I always kind of keep in mind as far as like, I feel like a lot of people go to bikes to try to kind of, again, like we've said, get away and feel better. And sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes the other part that's missing is like talking about it and finding some other ways to like deal with it, right? And try to work through it.
Yeah.
And that's only going to happen if we can have those conversations as a community.
That's very well said. It's, that's huge. It's if we can get somebody to, feel like okay to basically express what they're going through. Like if that helps even one person, like huge. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like I said, it's fucking tragedy when that shit happens. You know what I mean? Like, because somebody is struggling for obvious reasons, and it's just if that helps anybody basically get through it, it's amazing, dude. Like that's kind of a lot. I think a lot of us, see a lot of ourselves, and like a lot of people in the community can recognize that maybe if they don't even speak about it, that we're there for similar reasons. You know what I mean? Like maybe not specifically, but everybody's kind of on these things as some sort of outlet to some extent. And I think a lot of people in this community can empathize with that and like get it, even if it's not outspoken. But I really hope it becomes more outspoken because, like you said, that could make all the difference.
And there's definitely like within this community, there's that history and tradition of that kind of bro club like attitude where it becomes difficult to kind of broach that subject.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet that anyone that puts on that front, if you were to take them aside and talk to them about this, they would be more than happy to like chat through their own experience with it in most cases, because most of them I'm sure have some kind of personal experience with it, and it's just a matter of trying to break down those walls so we can have the conversation.
Yeah.
Not to get funny, but that reminded me of that Break Down the Walls song by Break Down the Walls.
Well, I had, if we feel like we've done enough serious, I have a fun little closer.
Ooh.
If you'd like to allow screen sharing.
Oh yeah. Why do I always forget that, by the way? Damn it. Multiple. There you go. I should change that to like the default behavior, but it doesn't.
So this is going to be. I'm only going to share one. Well, it'll be two pictures, but one in particular that I want to focus on here.
Hopefully, it's more bad photoshops.
Okay. So there's this guy. He's riding a Tahoe
what
bicycle.
A frame on that thing.
It's a cool little bike. And he looks like he's having a blast.
Oh boy. How did you find this one?
But my next one here is another really high quality Photoshop job. Look at that.
Oh man, the Hahu.
For our listeners, this is a 26-inch, somewhat mountainy bike that is being supposedly ridden like a BMX bike.
He's whipping the hell out of that thing with
his some kind of bike park. He's got
fender. He's got a fender
feet off the pedals. He's having a blast with it.
Down.
What's up with that headset?
Yeah, it is.
Kickstand. I didn't even see that. The kickstand's down.
Is it what we can only presume to be a 90-degree angle to the ground, suspended in midair, and the kickstand is down. The wheels are not spinning.
With his 3x front chainring prominently displayed.
Yes.
And those are mechanical discs as well with no suspension on that front fork, it looks like.
No, it's got some suspension.
It's got a little bit of travel. Look at that.
And a fender,
You can see that guy would definitely have a fender on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I figured we'd close with this guy. And,
Hahu.
And I mean that guy too. But
what's
anyway.
weird is the decals look photoshopped onto the frame.
Onto the bike? Yeah, they probably
We have to start doing horrible photoshops of our own with people we know and putting them on bikes in strange positions.
I do love how,
post a picture post this picture with this episode, but yeah, I think that's a good way to close on trashing on people's bikes again.
Back to normal.
We don't want to gatekeep, but
yeah.
fuck you and your hobby.
Wow, that lends itself perfectly to that. Oh my god. Right in the ha-hoo, buddy.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, this has been the Bike Lane mental health episode.
And it's been real.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Keeping it real goes right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hopefully.
I appreciate you guys taking the time and taking literally the mental energy to go through with this, because I know personally this wasn't usually I come in here and I'm like ready to just blab off the top of my head with and it was some apprehension, not gonna lie, coming into this.
I will admit I struggled.
See? You're not alone, man.
So sorry if I let you down. I don't know.
Dude, I think we all crushed it. I think it was a good
We'll
one.
talk about your performance after, Tom.
Oh God.
And yeah, so we'll get this out. Now, I also haven't obviously posted the roast ones. Should I post the roast ones and then just post this one immediately after, or no?
Nah, give it another week or so.
Yeah.
Do your palate cleanse it?
So I'll do. Yeah, exactly. Should I do? I'll do the roast ones. I'll finish the editing for that and get them out now for our last roast episode, that mini one. And then you want to wait a week to put this one out, or no?
I think so, yeah.
All right, cool. I like to crowdsource the decision, because then it kind of holds me a little bit more accountable. Again, mental health episode, something I struggle with. So yeah,
we all do.
It's this was great. Who wants to cue it now? Who wants to cue this time?
Riley.
Cue the outro.
This has been the Bike Lane.
That was good, Tom. I think you crush it better than basically all of us. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
Recording stopped.
Oh, but I wanted to mention this. There was Jim Madeira sent me something cool. It was a petition for Pine Hills to create a Pine Hills rec area in Plymouth around the power plant, and basically make it so they can't have anything removed from because I think there was some land that they lost actually over there.
Yeah, there's a huge swath of land right across the street.
Yeah, okay.
That's getting developed, which is
a whole other news.